always on top of the talking points from 3 months ago, Tim Pool believes that they are removing Biden from the 2024 primary. The Democrats are going to move him out, and that Gavin Newsom is going to replace him, and that all signs point to this. It's a keen political eye trained on a very flimsy situation for Democrats. Only one man can break it down for us, and that would be Captain Beanie himself.
Is expanding. And why would they do this? Why would they do this? Well, it's because they want to get Joe Biden out of the race. I
say the Biden investigation is expanding, and that the administration is allowing it to happen because Democrats are actually helping subvert Biden, not because Biden's like, I have hands off. If they want to look at shit, they can look at shit.
Dude, I know there are people that I like and trust and respect, who are saying, no, you're wrong. It's clickbait. Joe Biden is going to be the nominee.
Yeah, he is. And yes, they're saying that very thing because it's true.
Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Okay? Joe Biden, I do not believe will be the nominee.
Well, I guess that settles it. I'm sorry, guys. Pack it up. I don't even know why I bought the Dark Brandon mug at this point. If Tim has pointed out, and he's been right about... yeah, I don't know. This page is blank.
He's running now. There's talks about Democrats challenging him, but
are there talks about Democrats? What do you mean, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Marianne Williamson? Yes, the challenges are coming in hot and heavy.
See it? Why? Why would the Uni Party?
First of all, I would, if I may, there is no Uni Party. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe your premise is based on Illuminati level lunacy.
Seeing Donald Trump, who they so desperately despise.
Why would the Uniparty despise Donald Trump? They let him be president once before. If they control everything, didn't they control that as well? Maybe they asked him and he didn't want to run a second time, so this is all a charade.
Why would they run Joe Biden?
They aren't running Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the sitting president and the head of the Democratic Party because reality is based on human beings doing shit in the real world, and he's capable and he's running again. That's why.
But how do you get rid of Joe Biden? There's a bunch of different ways.
Yes, there are a bunch of different ways to get rid of Joe Biden. You can slip out the back, Jack. You can slip on a banana stand. You can creep up the street, Lee.
And it may be this.
Just don't call me Roy.
Probe. You see, this documents probe accomplishes two things. One,
it probes some documents. Two, it something else involving documents.
Remove Joe Biden.
No, it wouldn't. Biden documents probe casts wide net. Yeah, that's what this says. From secretaries to Secretary of State, investigators have interviewed scores of witnesses, some more than once. Yes, the documents probe. This is going to catch up with him. It's not going to catch up with Trump, obviously. He's firing on all cylinders. Never been sharper. Brilliant guy. Not a problem. Yeah.
From the race.
Uh-huh.
Kamala Harris may then say something to the effect of, look, I was in this to work with Joe Biden, and I think it's only appropriate that a new team step in. If that's...
Yeah, that's what's going to happen. This is brilliant. And I'm glad he's put the thought in. So as it plays out, what's going to happen is Joe Biden's going to step down because of a broad attack by Republicans on the level of like Benghazi bullshit. And Kamala Harris is just going to go, you know what? I don't, being president without Joe, serving the rest of his term, it's just not something I'm good with. It doesn't feel right. I think we should both step aside. Holy fuck, this is dumb. This, if anything, if there's a pathological version of spending too much time on the internet, it is encapsulated in the thinking process of Tim Pool.
Or
she seizes control and there's a coup and it's dictator Harris straight for going on forever, and she brings in William Barr to keep her in office, and also she adds 15 seats to the Supreme Court so she can control. Also,
another way to get rid of Kamala Harris in terms of 2024. They have a primary Newsom wins and then says, I am choosing a different VP.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah, that's, I could see him doing that. Like, you know what? Joe had to step down for, because of shit that pales in comparison to any single thing that Trump ever did in his entire fucking life. So obviously, I have to lay that at the feet of the woman of color that's his number 2. Fuck her as well. I'm bringing in somebody else. I've decided it's going to be Bernie Sanders. All right.
And yeah, maybe there's political turmoil and maybe there's complaints, but Biden cannot win.
Wait, somebody clip that for later. We're going to need that next year.
The other thing accomplished by this probe, they say, we're not biased. We went up against Trump and Joe Biden. Come on, don't you get it? So when Donald Trump gets charged on the documents, which he already has been, they say, look, we're doing the same thing to Joe Biden. You can't use that as a talking point against us. We went.
Okay, this is about the documents at his fucking house. Hold on one second. Wait. I understand. Hold on. From secretaries, this is just going to be. He's to. Whoops. To sec. Fuck you. Hold on. Secretary State Biden documents probe casts wide net. When the fuck is this? Okay, here we go. Yeah, here it is. ABC News. This is the article. This is the one he has up. Let's give it a shot, shall we? Investigators have interviewed scores of witnesses, some more than once. The federal investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents prior to becoming president has grown into a sprawling examination of Obama-era security protocols and internal White House processes, with investigators so far interviewing scores of witnesses, including Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News. Federal prosecutors and FBI agents from Special Counsel Robert Hur's office have been interviewing witnesses for nearly 9 months, targeting an expansive constellation of former aides, from high-level advisors to executive assistants, at least one White House attorney. Several sources estimated that as many as 100 witnesses have already been interviewed, with interviews conducted as recently as last week, and some witnesses asked to return for follow-up interviews. Sources who were present at some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC News that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that, based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed to them that the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 were more likely a mistake than a criminal act. Dun, dun, dun. Hold on one second. We have to do, now that I've got this whole thing. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, no. Nevertheless, special counsel has reached no final determinations, and the investigation is ongoing. In January, shortly after the news first surfaced, the classified documents had been found in the personal office used by Biden after his vice presidency. Blinken, a longtime aide to Biden, said he and Biden were both surprised to learn that there were any government records taken. It's unclear what Blinken told Hur's team in his voluntary interview with them. I would guess the same fucking thing. For a high-stakes special counsel investigation into a sitting president, Hur has operated largely under the radar since his appointment in January. Well, that's largely because, unlike Donald Trump, Joe Biden has not attacked him as an enemy of the state and called him deranged and whatever the fuck, and has just let him do his goddamn job. Avoiding the attention and media scrutiny of special counsel Jack Smith, he's not avoiding it. Biden's not drawing attention to him. All right. But ABC News learned from sources that Hur's team has cast a wide net, gathering documents dating back to the early days of the Obama administration and drilling into questions about the task of securely updating the vice president on highly sensitive updating. It's a task of securely updating the vice president on highly sensitive. Okay. Investigators have shown witnesses email chains dating back to and at least 2010, asking for context about those exchanges. Witnesses have also pressed about the use of cabinets and safes. It's been publicly reported that, well, yeah, they want to know how it ended up there, and if the stuff ended up there accidentally, who handled it and why, and how it. I mean, you're going to want an investigation, even if it's not criminal. You're going to want to know how the stuff slipped out for the future. That makes total fucking sense. And the fact that Biden isn't interrupting him at all is a good sign. Meanwhile, continue, dipshit.
Him all the same. I don't think it really matters anyway.
Yes. You mean what you're talking about? Or your thoughts on this? No, it doesn't matter.
I feel like the growing political division in this country, you basically have two-parent families.
Oh, by the way, I think there's going to be a civil war, dipshits.
one faction, the Trump faction, Freedom faction, Libertarian, post-liberals, all these people, not all of them big Trump supporters either, are basically saying,
yeah, the Trump faction are definitely not big Trump supporters. Not at this point.
we think you're all liars, and we don't trust anything you do for any reason. And the other side just basically saying,
meanwhile, they drive across town using, traffic lights and trusting their fellow man not to cross the center line. And they get into airplanes with, and trust the FAA to keep them in the fucking air. And they go into every building not knowing that they're not breathing toxic fucking fumes because the EPA and OSHA and other government organizations have guaranteed them a safe and healthy work environment and a shopping environment. They know that most of the chemicals they come in contact with either are not harmful or they have a warning if they are, even to extremes where in California you're warned about stuff and just like a shopping mall containing certain chemicals known to cause cancer is literally labeled on the fucking building, but they go in anyways. Huh? Yeah. Do you think any of these assholes drank or ate anything while they were visiting D.C. for January 6th? Anywhere? Did they walk up to a cart on the street in D.C. and go, definitely not CIA? Hand me one of your fine, frothy smoothies, my friend. Because what do I have to fear? Glug, glug, glug. I don't trust the government in anything I do. This doesn't have aspartame in it. I've read a study that says it's not good for me.
You're probably lying too, but we'll do whatever you say. Please don't hurt me. That's the gist of it.
It is the gist of it. It is in general.
Story from ABC News. They say, the federal investigation into President Joe Biden's handling of classified documents prior to becoming president has grown into a sprawling examination of Obama-era security protocols and internal White House processes, with investigators so far interviewing scores of witnesses, including Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Sources familiar with the investigation told ABC News.
Well, at least we both had the capability to read this document. Now, do you think you'll get... Remember what I told you about the yeah buts? Yeah but being the third paragraph. Do you remember what the third paragraph in this one says? Hold on, here's literally the third paragraph. Sources who were present for some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed to them that the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 was more likely a mistake than a criminal act. That's the yeah but. Right there in paragraph 3, just like I told you, that's how it works. We'll see if he blazes past it.
Prosecutors and FBI agents from the special counsel Robert Hur's office have been interviewing witnesses for nearly 9 months, targeting an expansive constellation of former aides.
Which, by the way, you would do simply because you don't want those classified documents out. In some instances, especially around things like this, you are not necessarily chasing down in the investigation, chasing down specifically because you're in charge of those documents as well. The FBI in particular is in charge of making sure those documents are secure. So they would want to know where the process broke down and in that investigation. Now, at some point, if it was criminal, they would charge somebody who's criminal. But also, if they could make recommendations about how this shit got in the wind, at some point down the line, they could go, here's our report. It wasn't criminal, but this was where this document, we figured out how this document ended up here when it shouldn't have, and there was a failure here and here, and so therefore we should button down those areas.
From high-level advisors to executive assistants and at least one White House attorney. Several sources estimated that as many as 100 witnesses have already been interviewed.
By the way, this motherfucker thinks this is going to make Joe Biden drop out of the presidential race. Donald Trump has been indicted 4 times on 91 charges, and he thinks this ongoing investigation, including the third paragraph, which I just read to you, is going to make Joe Biden drop out of the race. And by the way, and Kamala Harris and Gavin Newsom wouldn't even allow her to be his vice president after this because I'm sorry, I'm running out of ways to describe this stupidity.
Conducted as recently as last week, and some witnesses asked to return for follow-up interviews. Sources who were present for some of the interviews, including witnesses, told ABC News that authorities had apparently uncovered instances of carelessness from Biden's vice presidency, but that based on what was said in the interviews, it seemed that Seemed to them.
By the way, interviews that if you lie under oath, it's a crime, based on interviews where, there may have been under oath depositions in those interviews.
That the improper removal of classified documents from Biden's office when he left the White House in 2017 was more likely a mistake than a criminal act. Okay. So, maybe just a mistake. Maybe they don't go anywhere with this. Nevertheless, the special counsel has no final determinations, and the investigation is ongoing. In January, shortly after news first surfaced that classified documents had been found.
Yeah, we read it. We already read it.
Into former President Donald.
Yeah,
investigation.
We read it.
2010.
He's reading the whole article.
Dude, I'm sorry, man. They're digging up dirt.
Hold on.
It has been publicly reported that investigators reached for documents dating back to Biden's tenure in the Senate. Dude, I'm sorry, man.
Investigation. Okay, hold on. We'll get down to this part of it. ABC learned sources cast a wide net, gathered highly sensitive matters. 2010 exchanges has been publicly reported. Search for documents that investigators searched for documents dating back to Biden's tenure in the Senate. That doesn't mean they found any. They're digging up dirt. You do realize you don't dig up dirt. You dig in dirt to find other stuff. They're digging in. Never mind. All digging involves to some degree dirt, one would think. All right. Sources said investigators are asking witnesses, especially former military aides, granular questions about internal procedures for handling classified materials, apparently seeking to understand the minutia of how the vice president obtained, consumed, and discarded classified briefing materials. Of particular interest to investigators, according to multiple sources, was any context surrounding Biden's tendencies for note-taking and document retention, including where he stored documents, briefing books, notes, and note cards. Prosecutors also asked witnesses for an iPad and cell phone Biden kept for personal use, and whether they were aware if he ever handled classified materials on those devices. Investigators, they're going to ask all these things. Yeah, how did they get there? Did they get printed when they were home? Are these right? This is just it's amazing to me how confused by adulting Tim Pool is.
They're digging up dirt. Okay. But this is the existing current federal government. So call it whatever you want. That
wasn't actually a statement of any sort. That was just gibberish.
Pull one for you. I don't know, civil war or something. Because I'm sure what they're going to argue is that these are Trump supporting members of the government going after Joe Biden.
No one's saying that. They're going through the process to see how those documents got in the wind, and they're going to ask all pertinent questions around it. They've come to the determination, it seems, or they're heading towards the conclusion that it was not a criminal act, that this is just mishandling of some stuff by either staff or the vice president, tucked inside some of his stuff and then going back to vice presidenting, and therefore some of this stuff ended up in his other files. Unlike Trump, who actively fucking moved boxes around on camera.
Sure, fine, whatever, man. Believe whatever it is you want to believe. The reality is Joe Biden is being knocked out of the race.
Yes, he's being knocked out of the race. Trump is, the 4 indictments are just an attempt by the deep state to make him stronger. The Uni Party is trying to help Donald Trump by appearing to be against him. But Biden, who according to this predicted, is that Biden is the number 1 winner to win the race, the presidential nomination on the Democratic side, and then Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, Robert F. Kennedy, and Pete Buttigieg is in there. Oh, that's nice.
I'm not saying definitively. I'm saying
yes, you are. Listen to this. Say that again.
Believe whatever it is you want to believe. The reality is Biden is being knocked out of the race.
The reality is Biden is being knocked out of the race. Now, perfect time to go mealy mouth and namby-pamby. Follow it up.
I'm not saying definitively. I'm saying
the reality is Biden is being knocked out of the race. Now, maybe-ish, kinda, sorta. No, totally.
These moves are bad for him. And
what if they come to the conclusion that the mishandling happened by staff or something like that, and that he shores up the handling of classified documents so that both what happened accidentally with him or with the Vice President Mike Pence, which, by the way, they're dealing with the vice presidency itself. They're also investigating him, that it doesn't happen in the future, and that future presidents can't just say, I magically declassify stuff by walking out of the room with it.
Open the door to a Newsom victory.
Because, I mean, he's nipping at the heels. Look at that. 18 cents to 69 cents.
Take a look at Predict It. Gavin Newsom's at 18 cents.
Above the other two people who are running, Marianne Williamson doesn't even chart, and Robert F. Kennedy's at 5 cents.
Who will win the 2024 Democratic presidential nomination? Joe Biden.
Well, this settles it.
Favorite. Donald Trump is doing better. I think I have Trump. Trump is here at 72 cents. Nikki.
Yeah, but that's more about the gullibility of the party. They're predicting it based on like how weak and ballless the GOP has become in the face of Donald Trump. That's the reason there's even a horse race in the secondaries in the Democratic Party is because we actually give a fuck about other candidates and other people. It's not a cult of personality. All this shows you is that the Republican Party is in the death throes of being a party of cultish fuck-ups.
At 9, Vivek at 9, Ron DeSantis in 4th place. Oh, man.
He's off by a penny. Who gives a shit?
But just, man, talk about
not being, the thing that people thought you were thinging while you thinged in the thangy thing. You know what I mean?
A crash. That's so brutal. So brutal.
It's so brutal to be 1 penny behind Vivek and Nikki Haley on Predict It. By the way, to the people at Predict It, if you think the Republicans are going to nominate a person of color over a white person or a female over a male, you are fucking lunatics. Ain't happening. Don't believe me? Ask Tim Scott.
It's a bummer.
It's a bummer. It's such a bummer.
But here's what I'm thinking, man. Look at these articles, right? Here's one from July 8th.
Opinion from Douglas McKinnon, opinion contributor. Okay. All right, let's see this. Hold on. Douglas McKinnon, The Hill. There we go. Okay, so yeah, here you go. This is these are some stuff. This is the go to his. It's one of the pages. The views expressed by contributors are their own view and not of the Hill. This is one of his articles. Should Democrats concede the White House in 2024 to win in 2028? Meaning, just let Biden lose so that I guess Gavin can win in 2028. Also, more of his. This is the guy, by the way. Is Zelensky's ungrateful act causing him to lose his luster? Back in June, Biden lashed out Ukraine president never-ending demands for U.S. aid. Barely finished Zelensky over the phone when he approved another $1 billion. Blah blah blah. Just Zelensky's a dick. How about this? Did RFK Jr. hint the rigged DNC may force him to run third party? Let's see. The right must respect the symbolism of the 2020 election. The symbolism. I see. So brown lady is a symbol, not a person, not a capable being. I get you. Okay, sure. Here's the here's the game plan. Biden replaces. Oh, this is Tim Pool doesn't even have this one on his fucking scorecard. Here's the game plan. Biden replaces Harris with Newsom and then resigns. This is from November of 22. Hasn't happened yet, but hey, the term is young. Sure. Well, I guess all right. If this is going to answer... Oh, my God. Is Donald Trump one of the smartest presidents in U.S. history? No. Not by any fucking means. This is from January of 2020. As I write this, The number one book on Amazon is titled A Very Stable Genius, Donald J. Trump's Testing of America. It was written by two reporters from the Trumpaverse Washington Post who publicly booked the same publicity does not acknowledge that only liberals now typically win Pulitzers, Nobel Prizes, Oscars, or Emmys. Fucking liberals. But then that would detract from the purpose of the book, which is to weaken, belittle, and even smear the president. Ironically, but not surprisingly, the title of this umpteenth book, Attacking Trump, came out about because of a series of tweets by the president 2 years ago when he was defending himself against, wait for it, another book from a liberal writer filled with personal attacks on the president. Michael Wolff's Fire and Fury, a book that many Trump supporters and even liberal media personalities believe is filled with multiple inaccuracies or outright flights of imagination. Yeah, not anymore. Said the president, now that Russian collusion is one of the year intensity, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. Anyone who's followed Trump's career knows he likes to use hyperbole to push buttons and elicit responses. No doubt reporters from the Washington Post knew this because of a very stable genius. Answer depends upon the criteria used. Is he very smart? To be sure, Thomas Jefferson and Bill Clinton are among the presidents estimated to have had tremendous intellectual horsepower, blah, blah. But is he outsmarted the smarty pants? Anyways, that's who this fucking, when is the optimal time for Biden to drop out of the race? That's the same guy who wrote, is Trump the smartest president in U.S.
Optimal
history?
time for Biden to drop out of the race.
Which, by the way, when people read an opinion piece and read the title as if this is a factoid I'm dropping, always beware. I will try never to do this. I don't think I do, but if I ever catch myself, I'll do it like, aha! But because it's an opinion piece. But if you read this like it's a fucking report from the CDC, you're an asshole.
Really? As if it's a foregone conclusion?
But from the writer who thought Trump was the smartest president in U.S. history.
Here's one from The Guardian. Biographer says it wouldn't be a total shock if Biden drops out of the 2024 race.
The writer of a biography, not obviously, I don't know, is it an authorized secondary biography? Is it the guy himself?
And then we have this from The Hill. Pardon Hunter and drop out. How Biden can spare his party, his family, and his image.
And this is Derek Hunter. Let's okay. Should we look at Derek Hunter? I mean, talk about like farming articles. Let's see. Yeah, here you go. Big city Democrats are repeating the mistakes that killed Detroit. Here's a great example why people distrust the media from the media. An opinion piece there. Each year, treated new polling showing journalism is professional, blah, blah, blah. Directors, actors bomb nowadays angrily blame the fans for their failures. Okay, yeah, just right-wing, largely. Trump is a coward for not debating tonight. There's a point. All right. Host of the Derek Hunter podcast. There's a word for a man who's afraid to show up. Coward. Former president is a coward when it comes to debating his primary opponent. So get me wrong, sometimes cowards win. For example, the governor of Arizona refused to debate her opponent. She won by a million votes. In politics, especially presidential politics, courage matters. Trump's willing to speak out. Trump is no longer politically novice or just a businessman. He's now a politician. Oh, shucks, I'm new to all this. Doesn't work. Okay, blah, blah, blah. That's written somewhere else. The affirmative action ruling has exposed Democrats. Oh, I remember this article. Failure on education. I see. Failure to keep Republicans from gutting it? Or, all right. Yeah, but that's the writer on this one.
Sure. Maybe that's the path. I think it's not going to be Joe Biden. You know, I think Gavin Newsom is...
I'm not saying that definitively. You know, I'm like adding a like to it. I'm saying add a like. I'm just saying like. I'm not like definitively saying this. Like, you know.
Smarmy used car salesman who would fare better than most. Michelle Obama probably would do very well. But the issue is everyone's basing the Michelle Obama assumption off of a few things. One, that she wants to run, and two, that she actually has the I want to say X factor required. And, you know, X factor's kind of...
The X factor. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. Michelle, Lord almighty. The X factor? You mean like George H.W. Bush? Or George W. Bush? Or Nixon? Or Ford? Or Lyndon Johnson? The X factor. Fucking hell.
What I mean is
she doesn't excite me. You know, she's a scary black lady.
Needs confidence, charisma, and wit.
Yeah, she does okay, but she also wants you to eat your broccoli, so that probably, that's going to end it. Yeah.
Does she have those things?
Like as much as Donald Trump, you mean? Does she have the ability to castigate people on physical characteristics they can't do shit about and be a disgusting pig? Will she have an Access Hollywood tape that really pushes her to the front of the line with right-leaning independence?
We know that she's popular. Democrats, but I don't know if she's going to be able to handle debating.
She's not running. This is a fucking fantasy as well. Again, is there if there's a straw man and a steel man, is this like a fart man? No, that's a Howard Stern character. It's a ghost of an idea, a specter of idiocy.
Speaking to the great degree that, Obama could, so she might just be like, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's what she's doing. She's at home after being next to her husband going, I don't know. I guess it's just a man thing. Get the fuck out of here.
The speculation is based off her image, based off of her celebrity rating.
No, it isn't. It's based on this right-wing fantasy that she's the next Hillary Clinton. That Obama is very popular the way Clinton was popular, and that the Democrats are going to run Michelle like they ran Hillary, and we got to start tearing her down now. That's what this whole thing is about. And they've never given up on attacking her because they're fucking gross.
She could be a good candidate. But Gavin Newsom, while he doesn't have the policies, he certainly has the wit and the charisma. And
what policies does he not have? Because the stuff that he's getting done in California right now is popular with 80% of the electorate.
More so than many other people who may be running. So here are my thoughts, man.
Yeah, give us your thoughts, bro. Yeah, bruh.
Look, they're doing a deep investigation.
A deep investigation. Yeah. Unlike the one they're doing with Trump, which is obviously just cursory and they're going to throw him in jail without even a real trial. It's just basically a kangaroo court.
Joe Biden. Right now, predicted market has Joe Biden to win at 43 cents, Trump at 37, but Gavin Newsom at 14. I think it's funny that Ron DeSantis is in fourth place despite losing to Nikki Haley and Vivek
Rhonda who?
Swamy in the GOP presidential primary predictions. Something doesn't add up there.
Because they poll people differently based on who's in the running. And once you put them in place, they fall off a lot, especially on that whole like brown people GOP problem.
But Gavin Newsom's right there.
Right. He's gaining popularity. That's why he's easing into it. He's in no rush. It's very obvious that if Kamala Harris wants to run again, there's a chance that he might wait one cycle. But there's another chance that Gavin might decide to run against her in 20, leading up to 2028. I kind of doubt it, but we'll see. But I mean, it's fucking 5 years away, 5 and change.
Going to be debating Ron DeSantis. Why? Neither. Whatever. Maybe it made sense a year ago when Ron
party to party
was actually doing well, but I just don't see it. Ron DeSantis has done too much damage to himself in his campaign. But maybe the idea is that Trump and Biden are both not going to be in the race. Who knows? Who knows, man? Right now, you got two very old people with Trump and Biden. Trump is seemingly
old,
spry, and
seemingly spry. Okay, this is proof that Tim Pool has never watched an entire Trump interview past 2015.
And winning in all the polls. Biden is not. So what happened?
But he seems to be winning in this one by a hefty 10 cents.
For some reason or another, Biden is going to be he's going to drop out or be removed. I think it's him dropping out because
I'm not saying definitively. I'm like
whatever they end up getting on him or doing to him, it results in Joe Biden saying I'm stepping down. Something like that.
Yeah, something like that. In general, whatever they get on him, if they don't have anything yet. I mean, they don't have anything yet, but they'll get something, and then he'll step down. Yeah, that's probably what will happen. Unlike Trump, who is spry enough to run from prison.
It's possible. I agree
Jesus.
That Joe Biden will be the nominee, but it just seems too far-fetched because if they run Joe Biden, it sounds like they're saying we want to lose.
Uh-huh. Not according to Predict It, which you were just saying was a way to slam Ron DeSantis a second ago. You were using that as your impetus for saying, oh my God, how far he has fallen. because predicted put him in fourth place, but Biden's winning by 10 cents plus over ish, depending on which category, the one or the initial one, the 63 cents before and this 43 cents here. Now it doesn't mean anything.
For real. At this point, if the Democrats run Joe Biden, it seems the simple answer is they don't want to win. And I assume they want to win. The first time they ran Biden, sure, many of us I thought he couldn't win. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's almost like it's coming right back. Now, a lot of us didn't think that. Like, one of us in this bizarre internet conversation said he would be the nominee and that he would win, and was right. So I'm just weighing that against what you're saying versus what I'm saying from context as far as who was actually correct about this shit.
I discounted the anti-election, right? That people were just voting against Trump, so it didn't really matter who they had, right?
Why would you discount that part? Oh, because Trump is spry and smart and a master of all media.
I decided to use someone who was more disposable, someone older, which stands.
Yeah, that's what everybody voted for. Yeah, it was a huge anti-Trump vote, and we all went, who's the most disposable amongst the people running? Yeah, that's how it happened. That's how we all remember it.
Reason why Joe Biden will not be the nominee. And what may happen is, not likely a primary, but for some reason or another, Joe Biden steps down and he says, you know, they could do something like the doc.
Yeah, they could do something like, I would do it in like a soliloquy, like in a monologue form, you know, man alone on a stage, spotlight, you know, maybe even he should do it as a song.
Case comes out, Biden comes out and then says something to the effect of, you know,
hello,
states that if you're found, you know, guilty of this documents thing, then you have to do this, that, you can't run for office. And he says, I respect this Constitution. I regret the actions that I took. It was a genuine mistake. But the law is the law, and we stand for the law, so I will be stepping down.
What? No. Nobody is denied the ability to run for office for mishandling classified documents. For trying actively to hide them, that's an act of treason. The fuck are you talking? This is so fucking stupid. Good Lord.
Allowing someone else to take up the mantle and lead this great nation. There's a bunch of ways he could do it.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely. I think he should use a ventriloquist dummy. Or they should do some sort of AI thing where they have a talking fish fire him at a swimming pool. At the beach. Be better at the beach or whatever. And then he sprouts Wilmington House shutter wings and flies off into the sunset. This is fucking ridiculous.
They could just remove him and be like, nope, you're out. And Biden could be like, well, you know.
I'm like, and he's like, and you're all like, I'm like, what? You're like, I'm like, fucking go. I'm like,
What am I going to do about it?
I'm like, what are you saying? I don't know. What are you saying? I don't know. You look like a crayon that just has been overused.
Or Biden could say.
He could say, I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
A good fight. But for me, perhaps it's time to realize that I'm a bit too old. And he'll smile and he'll laugh and he'll beg. But it doesn't mean not capable. Because there's many people. And then he'll pander to the older crowd and say, but the task.
The older than him? Yeah. To guarantee that 80-plus-year-old people continue to vote so he doesn't make them mad and drive them away from the Democratic Party by making self-deprecating age jokes. Making the same mistake that Reagan made in his re-election campaign.
It's going to be difficult. And so we need someone younger, blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. It fills in. It writes itself, that speech.
Gavin Newsom steps in, and then Kamala's
he just steps in.
Picture.
Yeah, Kamala just goes, yeah, get to do it. You know, it's just the presidency. I mean, nobody's really invested in becoming the president or being a public servant. We all got whatever. Nah. I wasn't going to finish that anyways. You know, I was getting a little bored with it, actually. Yeah, I was really getting tired of being one heartbeat away from the presidency. I was like, never have time to binge watch Bosch.
Stops talking about her, and that's it. Everyone's like, how is she going to go if Biden's removed? What about Kamala? And it's like, dude, she'll just disappear.
Yeah, she'll somebody will throw a bucket of water on her, and she'll go, what a world.
Doesn't need to be a big public statement. She could literally just.
Yeah, she's just the first vice president of color in our nation's history. She can just fade, man. Nobody's going to give a shit. Nobody gives a shit, about that. Nobody cares. Why would even people like, they'll be like, Kamala who?
Do press. But I really,
Really, honestly. Yeah, totally, really, totally.
it's going to be a wild year.
Wild. Hey, Temple, it's going to be a wild year. Keep on making up shit that nobody agrees with. Hey, dipshit Temple, it's gonna be a wild year. Good Lord. Is this what this I don't watch his show on the regular. Is this what his fucking channel is like? Is it just like dipshit take after dipshit take? Like this kind of self-involved this idea, okay, it's my job now to tell you how things are. This is how it is. I'm not saying this is how it is, but this is how I'm going to say it's like it is.
With violence, with chaos.
Violence, chaos, and Kamala Harris just disappearing and Joe Biden stepping down with an old folks joke. It'll all mix together. It'll be a crazy show. It's going to be one of those, like binge watching a series where in the middle they diverge into some sort of cute side story that you're not really into. Then it gets back to the zombies.
I think probability stands, based on my view and everything I've seen, that
your view and everything you've seen, which involves most of the world. Tim Pool speaks 7 languages. Well-read, well-traveled young man. Spent a good deal of his time in Europe. He lived in a yurt for quite some time. Whatever, he was one of the founding members of Burning Man. Back when it was just 4 guys in a porta potty lost in the desert, and they, somebody was lighting their farts, and they set on fire the scarecrow that they'd used to distract the farmers who were trying to drive them off their land. He's written several books on the subject, although he doesn't know what the subject is, which I think is amazing in and of itself. He's sort of like the Where's Waldo of Jack Reachers. You know what I mean? He's the Zelig, but that no one would look for in the picture, right?
will not be the Democrat nominee. They are panicking in desperation to get him to.
Yeah, I woke up this morning in a flop sweat. I don't know about you guys. Like, oh God, remember the documents thing from a couple years ago about the possible handling of things where Biden allowed the FBI to look at his properties, and so did Mike Pence and a couple other people. They're like, shit, we need to work on this to make sure some of the stuff they do, none of it was dangerous and none of it turned out to be bad. But he's never going to be president. Oh, he is still president. And then I went and brushed my teeth.
Stand up straight. Why would they run him unless they wanted him to lose? Okay, fair point, perhaps.
To yourself. I love how he's arguing with himself. Why would they do that? I don't know. Good point. You bring up a good point, me, that I disagree with, but hey. Jesus Christ, I muted it? That's funny.
For some reason. I don't buy that either.
You don't buy your own argument based on nothing?
They really want Donald Trump to win for some reason.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I think you're onto something. I think that's a great idea. That's probably the most sound idea you've had so far. I think I would lock in on that one. Just own it. Own it.
I don't buy that either.
Oh, well, then don't. You know what? I agree. You know what? That was wrong of me to even say that. I think that was a dumb idea, and only a fucking moron would come up with something even close to an idea like this. I don't know what kind of beanie-headed dipshit would even like voice that idea. I can't believe I backed it up, but I mean, we all have our Trumpistan moments, I guess. I don't know, but maybe there is something.
So it seems to me. Gonna be Joe Biden. We'll see. I'll leave it there. Next segment's.
We'll see. Fucking 11 minutes of we'll see. Jesus Christ. You ever think of working at the Blaze? Tim, you're right there to take over Glenn Beck's seat as just kind of as the next person at the Blaze to have a flagrant disregard for reality and a complete lack of understanding about how normalcy works at fucking all. Jesus Christ. Is that what this is? I'm not kidding. Is that what his show is like all the time? Is this what Tim Pool turns out as content? He's got 1.2 million subscribers. You can hang out with him live in Miami. He's Timcasting out of Miami, where I guess he's showing up there to pick up his adopted Russian anchor baby out of Trump Tower, Moscow. Buy the cast brew coffee. Oh, he's got his own coffee, and you can become a member for uncensored videos where he does the whole thing beanie off. Is that a beanie? Is that what it's called? A beanie? He's wearing a beanie? Or was did he have a toque and it was circumcised? I'm always confused by that look. I'm kidding. Calm down. Roll the whole fucking thing down. I'm honestly, did you get diverted on your way from a bank robbery? Get a fedora. Jesus Christ. Well, that's, ladies and gentlemen, that's Tim Pool. That's apparently what Tim Pool does for a living, and he's making bank. He's got a well-oiled machine over there where he can, fire. He could have his friends on the show and then fire them. And then apparently there was some drama with somebody fucking his girlfriend or his wife or whatever the hell over there. Remember that bullshit last year? I have to say that if there's anything that can turn me off the internet for days on end, it's when internet personalities who kind of know each other get into personal dust-ups that the rest of us don't give a rat fuck about, that have nothing to do with the content they normally put on the air, like just the in-fucking middle school bullshit, right? Many of his followers have got to be bots. I don't know. Well, you're real people, and I appreciate you being here. Like, subscribe, give a thumbs up, support the show. Blah, 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 with all that blah, blah.